Hello, everybody. This is an incredible podcast that we're starting because we had a little session, a little weird meeting, and this is what came out of it. I'm Stannis.
I'm Shannon.
I'm Joy.
And the three of us just got together one day while we were setting up something fun like a retreat that we were doing. And then we just started really diving into the conversations and sort of meeting and learning more about each other. And I'm just fascinated by these two beautiful souls. Joy and Shannon are Namaste in the North. And I am Stannis from Superior Soul. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, that we recognize like what a value of knowledge and all the people that we are in contact with. And we want to bring people on and share our experiences around healing and healing the healers and just a little bit of everything, I think, is what this podcast is going to be about. But it started with us, like I said, having a meeting. And I was saying something to Shan, or we were talking, and I just said, yeah, like, I think I would really like to do a podcast. And Joy said, Shannon has a podcast. And I'm like, what? How come I didn't know this? She goes, oh, yeah, she's written a book, too. And I'm like, what? Again, I didn't know. And I'm just like, these are people you know. And like, I just think it's time for us to really, really share like who we are and who we know with, the world, maybe. I don't know. But what happened was I went to work and I said, hey, I was talking to Joy and Shannon, and did you know that Shannon wrote a book? And my boss is like, I know that Shannon wrote a book. Here's the book. And I'm like, oh my God. So now I got the book and I'm reading the book. And I was just like, this is insane. So like I said, the three of us decided to do a podcast. And honestly, a lot of it's going to revolve around this book. And it is A Coach Needs a Coach. And, I guess, Shan, it's your turn. It's your turn, my love.
So if you've ever been following A Coach Needs a Coach, it's been a while. It's been a while. And A Coach Needs a Coach really was a healing journey for me. It was stories from my life about coaches and the inspiration that coaches have had on my life and on things that have happened, and then the coaching that I've received and the coaching that I still receive. And I think the coaching that we all need in our lives to be successful. And so in a way, just like I said in the book, everybody's a coach. And these two lovely ladies have been instrumental coaches in my life. And then we want to help be instrumental coaches in your lives. And so, like Stannis said, we're going to do a lot of sharing, a lot of storytelling, a lot of guest speakers, and really make a community, like an online circle of coaches who can heal one another.
So I actually had a card reading, and unrelated to this at all. Well, maybe, but anyways, the card reading was pretty cool. She was talking about, what are you doing? Are you doing like some kind of new venture? And I was like, well, sort of. We were talking about, and she goes, well, there's three of you. She goes, well, there's two of you that really want to do this, but there's a third person involved that you have to make her be a part of it. And I was like, and she goes, is it a podcast or something? And then like all the lights come on. I was like, oh my God. Yes, it was. And then that brings us to
to me, when Stannis and Shannon were like, oh my gosh, we need to like podcast and record this in our meeting. I was like, whoa, there's no agenda here. Like, what are we recording? We were just kind of blabbing and conversing, and they just wanted to record that for a podcast. And none of it kind of really resonated or made sense to me in the moment. But I do think that there is a lot of value in sharing with one another, building like community together. And I think, sometimes we can just really get caught up in the busyness of life, and we don't take time to have conversation and talk to one another. So, part of our vision of doing something like this is that we can hear from each other, share stories, and just really connect. And maybe somebody might hear something that might really resonate for them. So, yeah, as Shannon and Stannis both said, we all have people in our lives who have been instrumental on our journeys and our paths, and we're hoping that we can bring some of those people on this podcast, and they can share some of their experience and some of the things they do, and we can all just have fun and learn and grow together.
Nice. And I think I would love you guys to tell a little bit about Namaste in the North, because that's how I found you.
Okay. So Namaste in the North started. Joy and I attended a retreat, and it was great. And we left and thought, I wonder if we could do something like this, because we were like, what about this, and what about this, and what about this, and there were things that we just wanted to bring to it. And so we were driving home, and we started imagining what it could be like. And by the time we got home, we had a logo and a name and a whole retreat planned on car napkins. And so we brought that to some friends and said, "Hey guys, like, what do you think? What do you think about this? Do you think this would be a good idea?" And instead of sending feedback, they started sending money. And they were like, "Please, we need you to do this. You guys have to do this." And so we started Namaste in the North. And the goal of Namaste in the North is to stay in the North, is to bring retreat experiences all across the North Shore, affordable, accessible, friendly, kind, and it's kind of morphed into a lot more than just that. Do you want to add in, Joy? We have so many really cool things that have come out of what has started as a small thing.
Yeah, I think we're a couple years in, and we've been able to, have several retreat offerings, and most of them, I think all of them actually fill right up. So we're really grateful for that. And each time, we meet new people along the way. But the other incredible thing is that a lot of people keep coming back. We have a few people who maybe not even missed one. They just keep coming to all of them. So that's very heartwarming for us. And I think, just gathering together and having a space to do that. And Shannon and I really strive to create an environment that is very open and non-judgmental and very loving, and just allowing people the opportunity to just be themselves and just get out of that day-to-day grind and just come and be. And we try to have everything planned, and so people can just show up with your pajamas, your pillow if you need that, and just come and not have to worry about anything. And it brings us a lot of gratitude to do that. And we really also try to support other local businesses, or bring in other people to join our retreats who can as well offer some sort of healing modality. And Stannis actually came to our last one and shared about some of the things that she does, and people really appreciated hearing from her and learning from her too. So yeah, we're just slowly growing organically. That's kind of what we want to do, and just really allow people to connect and just give themselves time.
Very cool. Yes, I work with, or have my own business here called Superior Soul, and I do Reiki out of my space, but also some ancestral clearing and what's energy work, really. But I also want to, again, same thing, share that and like allow people to leave here with a little bit of homework, like a little bit of just things to think about in it and move forward with. And then I think that's what the three of us have experienced with all the healers that we've worked with, not even worked with, but had experiences with. So, Shan, I don't know if you want to, because this sort of started from something, right?
Yes, it sure did. So, I, the first time I did Bowen therapy, I wasn't sure about it. I went to Bowen therapy, and it was not what I expected. I thought it was a little weird, honestly. And when it was done, I was like, that was it. And then my coach in that moment, who I've talked about on the podcast before, said, "Yeah, like, so how do you feel?" And I was
Like,
like I want to get out of here. and uh, and then and I did, and I left, and I thought, wow, that was something else. And before I left, she said, sometimes like really profound things happen after Bowen, so just make sure you rest and drink lots of water, and all those things you need to do after a healing experience. And so I did go home, and I was exhausted, and I went to bed that night, and woke up at about 5 in the morning with, I just thought I needed to write. Like, I was like, oh, I really have to journal. And I started writing. And every single day for 10 days in a row, I woke up very early and started writing. And about like day 3-ish, I was sending my journals, which I thought they were, to one of my best friends, Megan, who will be a guest on this podcast. And Megan said, on about day 3, she's like, I think you're writing a book. And I was like, that's crazy. I'm not writing a book. And then on about day 7, I was like, oh, I'm writing a book. And I knew I needed to share. And I think what I didn't realize is that me sharing was, number one, healing for me, but number two, healing for other people. And so many people came to me and said, like, wow, like, reading your words made me think about my experience, and talk about my experience. And I feel like that was the power of that part. It was just the healing that we can do collectively. And again, that's what we want to bring through this podcast, is just like collective healing to everybody.
love it. And Joy teaches yoga. Like, she guides us through all kinds of stuff. So tell us about that. Like, what even got you started?
Yeah, so I started going to yoga more because I was doing a lot of sports and I just thought I really need to stretch. I'm just going to go check this yoga thing out. And I went to a few yoga classes and I was like, oof, like I hated it. I was like, I'd rather run a marathon, or do 100 burpees than this yoga thing. But I just kept going, and I'd be in a pigeon pose and I'd be fidgeting and could barely be still. I was like, this is painful. But I just kept going because I was like, this is something, it was really drawing me there, to this practice, even though I wasn't like really enjoying it. And then I just kept on going, and I thought I could just notice that something was different. It wasn't that I could touch my toes. It wasn't that I could be still, but I just would go and feel very calm. It was like a calm place for me. And, I practiced, and then I began to really love it and cherish my time on the mat and the studio and the community at the studio. And so, yeah, the owner of the studio would say to me, Joy, have you thought about doing your training? And I kind of just laughed and thought, like, I'm, not the type who can touch my toes. I can't, do a headstand, none of that. And I was like, and she's like, no, you should think about it. So, it took a couple times of her saying that over the years. And then I decided, you know what, I really do want to go. And I thought, I don't think I'm going to go to teach. I just really want to like deepen my own practice and really get an understanding of the philosophy of the practice rather than just doing the practice. Because I knew that there was something happening. There was a shift. So I went to my training in Nicaragua. It was a month-long training where you just submerge yourself into, the teachings, the practice. And I came back a different person, I would say, very changed. It was just a very profound experience for me. And I couldn't wait to start to teach, just because I wanted to offer to others the gift that I received through the practice. So I've been teaching, I guess, almost about 6 years. 6 years now. And, you know, just on that note, it was funny because Shannon and I knew each other for a long time. Back in high school, we knew each other. She used to invite me sometimes to some of her wild parties, believe it or not. And then we lost contact, you know, life happened and we just lost contact. And it was through her book. She had posted on social media about this book. So I reached out to her and I was like, oh my gosh, I want a copy of your book. And I was listening to her podcast and I was like, wow. And then she did like a book signing and I went and I said, have you ever thought about doing yoga? Because she was talking about, you know, some of her health challenge at that time. And she was like, I can't do yoga. I'm not doing yoga. I'm not interested. So every now and again, I'd send her a message and I'd be like, hey, how's it going? Like, hey, how about want to come to a yoga class? And it was always like, no, I can't. And then finally one day she caved. But the deal was I had to come to her house in her basement and with her and a couple of her friends and do a yoga class for them. And I was like, sure. And then, so we did it. And I was like, how was that? And she was like, kind of thing. And then she texted me. She's like, so you think you could come back and do one of those yoga things? So then we did it for a good few sessions. And then she started coming to the yoga studio and just really, I guess, Shannon, I'll let you say like what your yoga journey, like what called you to kind of want to do more?
Yeah, well, I think it was kind of like what Joyce said, like when she first started, right? Like you don't think you need it, and then you realize how much you need it, and just the calm and the movement of my body and the lack of pain that I started experiencing once I started practicing more often. And even to this day, my body feels better when I practice more. And so I know that it's good for me. And through that, that's a whole other story for a different podcast because we're almost out of time. But I did my meditation teacher training, and I'm actually in the process of doing my yoga teacher training right now.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So I've gone from like, no yoga, no merci, to actually being really excited to share yoga with other people who might have physical challenges or pain or weight issues or any of those things, right? And really, because it is an accessible practice, or it can be, right? And it doesn't have to be something that, well, I'm not a yoga person because I didn't think I was either, right? And here we are.
I love that so much. I've also got my yoga instructor. I didn't go to Nicaragua though. Like, wow, that must have been incredible. I think maybe that's a goal. We should all go and maybe teach in Nicaragua, huh?
Yeah. Podcast on the plane.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
These girls are on the road.
Yes.
I'm just so excited to be able to share with people. I do, and I'm not trying to like toot my own horn or anything, but I think the three of us have gotten a lot of experience, and we met so many magical people that we can share. Like, you know, like just the practitioners involved. Like, I think I won't name anyone right now, but like I just can't even wait to put together like this huge list of who are we going to invite on, and you know, like,
guys, you should see our group chat.
yeah, you can only, right? Like that's exactly it. Like it's and just so much fun, and honestly, it's like for myself, it's just like I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing when I can empower others to share, you know, like that's kind of what I feel like my role is in this universe is I just want to keep learning for one, but then I just want to share like, oh my God, like, oh, is this something that you guys are, you know, if you're having an issue, I'm like, well, you know what? I had the best experience with this and this practitioner. So it's like, because we all are on our healing journeys, and like Shannon, like your book, and I mean anybody needs to get the book for sure, just go through it and read it. Little plug there. But simply like we all have our own healing journeys, and even though we're all healers, you have to reach out to someone else and have that extra coaching or that extra help and someone to kind of call you out.
Yeah. So let us be those people for you. And if you have ideas of people who can join us, send them our way, because we would like to start multiple episodes and really have this community of healers ready to listen to and be with and spend time with and learn from. And it's coming.
Yes. And I think if I can leave everybody with one thing, it's just be curious and be open, because when you're open and curious, like wild things can happen, and you'll hear about these wild things as we continue on the episodes. But yay!
Awesome.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
You
you.
guys for watching. Thank you for being a part of it. And like Joy said, yeah, just stick around and there'll be lots more fun happening.
Until next time, everybody.